tonight, out of the box with special guest stars Jeff Brantley and Tim Kirkchin, Yanks and Jays, and would you believe another rough day for Alex Rodriguez. Designated hitter. Didn't have to worry about fielding, he just had to worry about swinging the stick, and he strikes out once, and twice, and three. Oh, no, not four.
First time since June 1995, and soon after that time, he was sent right to the minor league.
Much more on that later on Baseball Tonight. Cubs, Nationals, and a great day for Alfonso Soriano. 4 extra base hits. Double, triple, double, double again.
So what does that do for his stock, Tim? To make it even higher?
Did it get any higher?
Stock's pretty high. It's hard to hit 4 extra base hits without a homer.
And more on that a bit later on Baseball Tonight. Jeff Cirillo, Brewers and Reds, and look at Brandon Phillips making like Jim Edmonds in the infield. That's a second baseman making that.
Tough catch to make right there.
And we had some off-the-field news. Scott Williamson traded from the Cubs to the San Diego Padres in exchange for a couple of Class A pitchers, and we'll discuss possible bigger picture ramifications in just a few minutes. Right now, a mobile ESPN alert from Chicago. 1-1 game in the 9th. Rangers, Sox, bases loaded, 2 outs, and Michael Young clutch off of Bobby Jenks.
Michael Young won the All-Star game for Ozzie Guillen and comes back with a 2-run hit to maybe try to beat Ozzie Guillen.
3-1, still batting in the 9th. We will let you know how it ends. And with that, welcome into Baseball Tonight. Scott Reese hanging out with Jeff Brantley and Tim Kirkchin. 9 days and counting until the Major League Baseball trade deadline. We'll keep you abreast of the buyers and the sellers, sort of set the scene for each as we go here through the next hour. We begin, however, with the surging Minnesota Twins going for 9 in a row in Cleveland, but this would not be the Twins' day. Grady Sizemore, the double to lead off the bottom of the first, 29th double of the year, and then Kronk out of the yard. It's 2-0.
When you watch the Indians swing the bats the way that they did today, especially against the Minnesota Twins, who have been as hot as anybody in baseball, you wonder how in the world this club ended up where they are, so far behind in this division.
And this was the offensive output we expected. Sizemore's second double of the game. In the 5th, Ramon Vasquez into the corner. He would score on a Jason Michaels single to make it 3-0. And then Peralta in the 6th. That's a double. All about the extra bases today for the Tribe.
Well, there's never been a question about whether the Tribe can hit.
No.
They just had trouble defensively and in the bullpen.
Joe Inglet inside first and down the line. First Major League triple. Hollinsworth in to make it 5-0.
Mark McGwire finished with 6 Major League triples. 6, whole career. Think about it.
A man named Grady, 3rd double of the game. This one of the hustle variety. Peralta and Inglet score to make it 9-0, but oh, they're not done swinging the stick. Now 10-0, and Hafner just playing pepper with a wall.
Well, Baker's out of the game, but Hafner got his way again. 5 for 8, 2 homers against him coming in.
Yeah.
Here's another huge output for the Indians. They've scored double figures 14 times this year.
14 hits for the Tribe, 8 of them for extra bases. And, oh, by the way, Jeremy Sowers, a 4-hit shutout with 104 pitches.
And I don't believe anyone got even 2 second base tonight. And that's one of the future
correct.
Kids right there.
Yeah, just 4 measly singles. So Sowers, they expected big things from him after ungodly numbers in the minors, and finally starting to show what Tribe fans have been hoping for, and certainly they will showcase him the rest of the season. So as we look now toward the trade deadline, this is what the Twins have done in recent years. You figure small market, not big movers and shakers. A couple of years ago, they traded Doug Minkiewicz to the Sox. The last big acquisition was in 03, and Shannon Stewart actually 4th in the MVP voting that season. But, Tim, today's struggles notwithstanding, this team has been as hot as anybody since the All-Star break. Given that, will the Twins now be buyers?
Oh, they'll definitely be buyers if they can find the right price. Now, they are still a developmental organization, and they're not going to trade their very best people. But you have to look at the Twins right now. Not only are they really hot, but who would really want to face the Twins in the playoffs if they were to make it when they can throw Santana and Liriano in games 1 and 2? Plus, they have a guy at the end of the game who's basically as good as anybody there is. So hot team, 2 #1 starting pitchers, big time closer. And you know, we heard about them maybe being the surprise team for Soriano. I'm not sure about that, but never count out Terry Ryan. He knows what he's doing.
Well, I think when you look at the Twins and you look at this ball club and you see that Torrey Hunter's on the DL, you see that Shannon Stewart's on the DL, Rondell White has come back and swung the bat very well. They've got really a trade in the making, but it's really not a trade, and that's the fact that they're going to get Torrey Hunter and Shannon Stewart back here very soon, sooner than I think anybody thought that they would. And both of these guys, right-handed power bats, both of them major cogs on this ball club, especially Torrey Hunter. And to be able to have both of these guys back and have that pitching that you were talking about, Tim, earlier, I think both of these guys add speed to the lineup. They add a lot of comfortability and really help out a guy like Joe Mauer and Justin Morneau, because they're swinging the bat from the left side. And both of these guys, when they get back, that's going to give you 4 hitters in this lineup that have the ability to go out of the ballpark at any time. You add Rondell White, that's 5. But this club has still got some making to do, even without a trade.
Amazing that Hunter expects to be back in just the 15 days with a stress fracture in his left foot, but he's going to play through the pain as the Twins make a run to at least the wild card. This mobile ESPN alert from Kansas City. 3-3 game in the 10th. Angels and Royals and Reggie Willits. Who? Reggie Willits singles home Sean Figgins. Angels with a 4-3 lead. Turn it over to K-Rod, bottom 10. This update from Arizona. Rockies and Diamondbacks. It's 2-0 Colorado until Chad Tracy. To the left of the pool. Still counts. Cuts the deficit in half. Due up on baseball tonight. Find out why even a DH day added to the struggles of Alex Rodriguez as the nightmare continues for the Yankee star. Plus, what is the snake strategy come trade deadline? And will Luis Gonzalez in fact be gonzo? We will touch them all with the big dingers of the day, including Bronk and Lyle Overbay. And, of course, we'll play a little defense. Now playing for your Boston Red Sox, Kason Gabbard. I'm told it rhymes with scabbard.
Right, and they have three pitchers who made their major league debut as a starter this year. The last time the Red Sox had that was in 1963.
Bob Hefner, Dave Moorhead, and Jerry Stevenson.
Very good.
I'm right there with you. So how would Mr. Gabbard do in his major league debut against Felix Hernandez and the Mariners? Top 1, King Felix looking strong, getting Poppy and Manny. Struck out 6 and 7 innings.
Pretty good hook, Cowboy, huh?
Tell you what, it looks like Felix really turned his game up against these guys today.
Mike Lowell missed a couple games with a stomach virus. Looks all right to me. 13th home run. It's 1-0 Sox. Gabbard, by the way, the 11th different starting pitcher for the Red Sox this season.
You see where that ball was that Ichiro just hit right there? He could have tied his shoes with that.
I've seen him hit balls lower than that. I saw him hit a ball that bounced.
Mariners take a 2-1 lead. Same score in the 3rd. And here is Ortiz with Coco Crisp at 2nd. And even with a shift on, that's a knock. Here comes Coco to tie it at 2. Gabbard pulled in the 6th inning. Still responsible for 2 runners in a 2-2 game. Julian Tavares trying to help him out. Kenji Jojima. Short, 3rd. Oh, goodness. Off the back of Eduardo Perez. That's unlucky.
And an unlikely error for the shortstop, who's been brilliant.
So it's 3-2 in the 7th. Alex Gonzalez. Nice play by Adrian Beltre. The nicer play by Sexton at first. That's a big man going down for that baseball. Mariners hang on and win 5-2. How good has J.J. Putz been? I mean, nobody's talking about this guy.
Really hard.
And he throws strikes, which is what you have to do if you're going to close ball.
In a year when nobody can seem to close with consistency outside of Rivera and Papelbon, Putz has been fantastic since taking over that role. The weirdest game we've seen in quite some time. Orioles D-Rays. Melvin Mora. I'm so flabbergasted with his score. This was 13-3. Tampa Bay scored 10 in the 5th. Baltimore has scored 8 in the 7th. And it's a 13-11 game. Well, much more on that a bit later.
So the Orioles could have a 10-run inning and lose the game. That's hard to do.
When's the last time we had 2 10-run innings in the same game? We have to look that up. If it happens. Neither of these teams, however, factoring on the American League East leaders panel, as the Yanks 2.5 back and the Jays 5.5 out as we speak. Time now for a SportsCenter 30 at 30 update with Stan Barrett.
Thanks a lot, Scott. At the British Open, heading into the final round, Tiger Woods has a 1-shot lead But he also has plenty of company. Sergio Garcia, Chris DeMarco, and Ernie Els are all one shot back, and 11 players are within 5 shots of the lead. At the Tour de France, American Floyd Landis had a comeback win in today's time trial. If his ailing hip holds out in the final stage tomorrow, he'll win the title. For more, Sports Center 11 Eastern or continuous alerts on mobile ESPN.
All right, Stan, thank you much. Let's talk Padres and Giants. Barry left last night's game with a leg injury, but he is in the lineup tonight and making his presence felt. That will not score Omar Vizquel, but it does load the bases in first.
Woody Williams and Jason Schmidt lock up in this one.
Yeah, we expected a pretty good pitcher's duel here, but we did get some offense. And Shea Hillenbrand, welcome to the team. First hit as a Giant. 2 batters later, Eliezer Alfonso squeaks one by Khalil Green. Hillenbrand, Pedro Feliz score, and that makes it a 2-1 game. And this just in, 4-2 in the 5th. Mike Cameron off of Schmidt. I think Schmidt knew it, didn't he? Cameron's got a couple of stolen bases and a home run. That's a good fantasy baseball day. Giants lead at 4-3 now, top of the 5th inning. And you see Bonds is 1 for 2 on the day. Schmidt, all of a sudden, 0-4 in his last 7 starts.
Cameron had been 2 for 19 lifetime against Schmidt, so you know that one felt pretty good.
He doesn't give up too many balls hit like that.
So the standings in the National League West, the Giants right now just a half game back, which means they go on to win this ball game, and the Giants are in first place.
With a lot of things that have gone wrong.
A weird division, and that's pretty much what we expected after what we saw last year. Now, Cowboy, we know the Giants are buyers, as they already went out and got Shea Hillenbrand. Question now is, should they buy Barry Bonds for next season?
Well, I think if you're a Giants fan and you've watched Barry Bonds since 1993 when he came to the San Francisco Giants, this is what you've waited for your whole entire ticket career, is for Bonds to have an opportunity to break Hank Aaron's record. I would hate to think that the Giants would have Bonds this long and let him go to another club in order to break the record. And I think, bar any suspension from Major League Baseball or any type of legal action or precedent that comes forward that bars Barry from playing for the San Francisco Giants or for playing baseball, period, he's going to be in a Giants uniform next year.
You figure, yeah, you can't keep him.
Can't wait this long and then just let him go.
And then, yeah, exactly. And meanwhile, Tim, as we mentioned, we saw them pick up Shea Hillenbrand. Can we assume that the Giants are not done wheeling and dealing?
No, I think they'll keep doing things. And, you know, you got to give them some credit for this. There were 7 teams in on Shea Hillenbrand. And J.P. Ricciardi of the Blue Jays told those GMs, look, you guys better come and come quickly because I'm taking the first good offer. And Brian Sabian, the GM of the Giants, said, give me 2 hours and I'll be right back with you. And 2 hours later, he called and he had a real deal, including, you know, Accardo, the reliever, going to Toronto. That's a better deal than I thought Toronto was going to get. But again, it showed how much the Giants needed this guy. And, you know, Shea Hillenbrand can hit. And as far as causing any problems there, I don't think they're worried about that. If you can... They've had enough problems.
If you can get through with Barry, you can get through with anything.
Yeah, distraction in that clubhouse, not going to be a problem. I
don't think so.
We stay out west for the struggling Dodgers in this mobile ESPN alert. Cards and Dodgers, 1-0 LA. Jimmy Edmonds, you hang him, we bang him, off of Aaron Seeley.
He's Ernie Els at the plate, isn't he? With that swing, that's who he is.
They score runs when he's in the lineup.
15th of the year for Edmonds. How about the Rockies and Diamondbacks? 3-2 Rocks, and Carlos Quentin making a bid for more playing time, huh? Stanford Kid ties it at 3 as they play ball in top 5. Due up here on Baseball Tonight, Alfonso Soriano did something today that no one else has done all season. Stay tuned and find out what that was. Plus, Livan Hernandez, sure, he's available, but is he attractive as we approach the trade deadline? We'll discuss the possibilities for the Washington Nationals.
Double Shot is brought to you by Starbucks Double Shot Espresso Drink. Make today the day.
Just keeps getting weirder in Tampa Bay. Orioles and Devil Rays now 13-11. O's have already scored 8 runs in the inning. Make it 9 thanks to Jeff Conine. D-Rays finally got the final out of the 7th, which saw 8 singles and 3 walks. That's in the 1 inning. Here's Kevin Millar with a chance to tie it up.
4 for 2.
Ryan Meadows breezes him. So we've had a 10-run inning for Tampa. and a 9-run inning for Baltimore, saying the loss. And no sooner did he get the L for the Cubs than he was shipped off to San Diego in a deal for 2 minor league pitchers. Now, Tim, on the surface, this seems like a kind of a ho-hum minor deal, but might there be major ramifications?
Well, there could be. He gives the Padres some bullpen flexibility now, and every team out there is looking for some bullpen help, and everybody is asking the Padres about Scott Linebrink, who's a very good pitcher, and the Padres don't want to trade him. However, when they do add some bullpen help like this, and they do need a third baseman like they do, you know, they're going to have to look into trading Scott Linebrink. I mean, they've checked out Mike Lowell, they've checked out Morgan Ensberg. I'm not sure what they're going to do, but at least they have a chip now in Scott Linebrink. And again, if he becomes available, the line will be very long because all sorts of teams, Yankees, White Sox, name them, would love to have a guy like that.
You know, we see what they're paying for middle relief these days. Just ask the Cincinnati Reds. Getting back to the Nationals and Livan Hernandez, clearly he is available, just like probably 3 or 4 other players on that roster. But the way Livan has pitched this year, Tim, in conjunction with his price tag, how likely is it that he will actually be moved?
Well, I think he's going to move just because the way he pitched today, he pitched pretty well. We know he can pitch in the pennant race. We know he can pitch in New York. We know he's a veteran guy who's not going to hurt himself in anything that he does. But you're right, Scott. I mean, the ERA has been up around 6 most of the year. He's signed through next year. He's in the mid-80s, mostly in velocity. That doesn't make him the most attractive guy out there. However, there are so few guys out there that he's still somewhere near the top of the list, and my guess is somebody is going to make a run at him and pay him next year just to try to get a 3rd or 4th guy in there.
And I think that's what that shows you how few starting pitchers are available and how many other teams that have good starting pitching are out there, because this guy has really not thrown the ball that well. But I really believe that if you did trade for Livan Hernandez, this would be a guy that would actually pick it up a little bit and throw the ball better towards the end of the season and into the postseason. I think he's a guy that's built on adrenaline. I think he likes the hook of playing in the playoffs. I think he is a guy that thrives on the atmosphere of where there's got to be something that's on the line. He's grown up being a tournament player his whole life, growing up and playing in Cuba. I think this is a guy that if you do trade for him, he's a guy that you got to be close and things have to be tight for him to pitch at his best. I just think that's where he thrives the most.
I think you hit the nail on the head, too, with the postseason. The postseason pedigree is there for Livan, and it may not be for some of the other pitchers, the Lytles and Kip Wells of the world that are out there prior to the deadline. And speaking of Hernandez, Nationals on the trade block, the impetus for our Starbucks double shot. 2 guys certainly on the block. Soriano hitting .467 since the break. And we talked about Livan. Well, he could almost wish if he could start the game in the 3rd inning, he'd be okay. His ERA in the first 2 is...
So it takes a little while to get that engine cranked.
10 points.
He's got to get the engine cranked. That's all it is.
Now on ESPN.com, our insider Jason Stark believes Bobby Abreu, not Soriano, is actually the hottest commodity on the trade market. Due up on this fine baseball program, Eric Hinsky leads the way as we touch them all. The big and dramatic dingers of the day, including a couple of guys who did some double yard work. And of course, all those who sacrificed their bodies for the good of the ball club. Counting down the top 5 gems in moments. Angels, Royals, Kansas City. LA up 2-0. Bottom 1, Mark Grudzielanek off of Kelvin Escobar for a start off the disabled list, and a little rusty in this first inning. There's the catch. And rookie Reggie Willits making his first major league start. Nice throw, just a tad late. David DeJesus tags from first.
Love to see guys tag from first and go to second.
We love the hustle. Doug Mientkiewicz, next batter, plates DeJesus, and it's a 2-1 ball game. Still in the first inning, now tied at 2, and Shane Costa just up from AAA. And glad to be here, thank you very much. Graffinino scores, Royals up 3-2. Escobar, however, would settle down. Top 5, same score, Adam Kennedy. Mientkiewicz, well, at least he didn't rob Figgins this time.
He's got a chance for Web Jam 3 nights in a row.
And Bjork's Burgos uncorks it. Hendry Morales scores to tie the game at 3 in the 7th. Bottom 8 now, still a 3-3 game. Umpire Joe West calls strike 2. Graffinino displeased. Then he strikes out swinging. He has some words. And he gets tossed. Buddy Bell comes out to protect his player, and, well, you pretty much know what will ensue. I think that was not a strike. I think he made the incorrect call. Basically what he said.
And the fans, he wanted to tell them about the fans.
And back to Willits. Did I mention it's his first Major League start? That's got to feel good. Drives home the winning run. Biggins in to make it 4-3. K-Rod shuts the door. And the Angels come from behind and win it in 10 innings. Scott Shields evens his record at 6-6. This despite an offer from Vladdy Guerrero. So the AL West standings now. The Angels 2 back of Oakland. The Rangers just a half game out.
Rangers in the middle of a very long road trip to start the second half, and they're still hanging in there.
Time to muscle up. Touch them all on baseball tonight, beginning in the Windy City. The Big Apple, that's New York, yeah. Xavier Nady surpassing last year's total with his 14th.
He really picks that front knee up high when he hits that ball.
Austin Kearns, first home run in 7 games with his new team. Austin Howard. Billy Hall, our Diamond Daily, making us look good.
Bill Hall has 20 home runs, guys, and he's going to hit more because J.J. Hardy's out for the year. He's going to play the rest of the year.
And you know what? Quarter of those home runs against the Reds. Lance Berkman has homered against the Mets each of the last 6 seasons. Got to dig hard for that stat. Travis Hafner, Bronk me. 6 jacks against
everybody.
Yeah, well, 6 against the Twins this year. That's the most in baseball against Minnesota. Leadoff hitters with pop. Ryan Friel, not once, but twice. He's got 2 multi-home run games this year. 7 home runs all year, and he's hit 2 in a game twice.
Good gamer.
Isn't that weird? Aramis Ramirez, this less weird. Second straight day he's left the yard twice, and he's not leaving much to doubt with these shots.
This used to be a really big deal when a guy would hit multiple home runs in consecutive games, but it happens a lot these days.
All right. 2 in a game is nice. 2 in an inning. Now that's impressive. Julio Lugo, second player in Devil Rays history to do it. Of course, who could forget the immortal Jared Sandberg? But that got us wondering, 2 home runs in an inning, how much has that happened? 49 times. 4 different Hall of Famers on the list, including Joe DiMaggio. Willie McCovey did it twice. And, oh, by the way, next Sunday, Hall of Fame induction ceremony. But we drop that in.
Absolutely. Cowboy will be there.
Yes, I will.
Mobile ESPN alert from the Bay. Padres and Giants, 4-3 San Francisco. Looks like a routine grounder by Moises Alou, but ball is thrown away, and Alou is up a little gimpy. Injury-plagued season for Alou. Due up on baseball tonight. I think we've saved the best for last. It was a good day for defense, and we count down the top 5 gems coming at you next. Let's do some gems, the defensive dendies on a Saturday. Number 5, Jose Castillo airward, robbing Josh Willingham. A lot of glove work from the Pirates. Number 4, his teammate Nate McLouth. Coming on in a hurry and robbing Cody Ross. Number 3 from your Detroit Tigers, Brandon Inge, who's becoming a regular on the web gem portion of our program. Flesh Gem.
That play.
Yeah, a pretty good pick by Chris Shelton, too.
Great anticipation.
We stay at third base for Joe Creedy, and this is nice.
He's Gold Glove caliber. He usually is not going to win because Eric Chavez is in the league, but he's pretty darn good.
Is that why they call it the hot corner?
That's a great play.
And gets his man. But number 1, and no question on this day, Brandon Phillips. Second baseman making like Jim
You
Edmonds.
go deep, and I'm going to throw it over your shoulder. You're going to catch it.
Put his head down, and he
Touchdown.
ran. He looked up just for a second to see it and caught it. That's a brilliant play.
And our stat of the night harkens back to Alex Rodriguez and the Golden Sombrero. 0 for 4, 4 strikeouts. Only done it one other time in his career, and that was June 22nd, 1995. 2 days later, he was sent down to the minor leagues.
He came back the next year and hit 358.
Mobile ESPN alert from Los Angeles. Albert Pujols. Hey, look, he hit another one. Two-run shot off of Aaron Seeley, 32nd of the year for Pujols, and it is 3-1 Cardinals.
Unstoppable.
And quickly, Cowboy, your most important thing.
New York Yankees beat Toronto, and Boston loses, so they actually jump a game up on both of those teams in the AL East.
Here come the Blue Jays. Timmy?
I'm going to say Julio Lugo, 2 home runs in 1 inning. You hear his name in trade talks, and I wonder why the Devil Rays would trade him. You would think long-term they'd like to have him at shortstop, B.J. Upton at third, but free agent at the end of the year, a bunch of teams are interested. Toronto, to me, should go make a big play for him.
Orioles, by the way, bases loaded in the 8th inning, down 13-12 in that ball game, and 10 runs for the Devil Rays in the 5th. If they should lose this game, it would be the first time a team scored 10 runs in a game and lost since 1979. In the
It was 89.
89.
It was Jim Rooker, and he said, if we lose, I'll walk to Philadelphia.
Are you going to walk
They
to Philly?
We're going to walk to Sports Center right now. We'll see you at midnight.